We want to shine the light on those who are, very talented.
Shine the light. Shine the light.
Because now we are in the time where you need to build an education, sport education.
We should be able to identify some of these talents and then we groom them.
That was a great one.
Yeah. It's been enjoyable.
This is amazing.
I hope that it would inspire many people.
That's what we try to do with the podcast. Hello and welcome to In The Game, Qatar's first sports podcast. And today we have the specialist of guests. I'm so excited because I met you the other day.
Yes.
And I saw you in this room with all these wonderful ladies, empowering ladies. And you were empowering so many of them. It was untrue. Your personality, your kind of the way that you get everybody involved. It was amazing.
Thank you.
So please tell us all about yourself. Tell us your name. Tell us everything.
Thank you, first of all, that you actually invited me for this podcast. And I think I was waiting for this invitation somehow. In my mind, I was like, I'm going to manifest this until he talks to me. And then when I knew, when you were talking with my friend Wadha Al-Adba, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait for my chance until I can have a proper conversation with him.
I knew. When you came up to me and you said, I know you.
Yeah, I was like, I know you.
And I'm like, oh, really?
Are you the guy with the podcast?
Yeah. And so I was growing 10 feet tall at that time. I was trying to stay calm, but I was growing 10 feet tall and I was thinking, oh, great. And what it was for me with you was I just saw you participating and you were getting excited and involved, and it was all through the other person. And I knew then that because I was talking to people and saying, oh, yeah, come on podcast.
Yeah.
And then I looked at it and said, there's only one person. No, I wanted all of you on our podcast. Everybody I said. But as soon as I saw you interacting and I saw you with all the other ladies, I knew what you were doing. And I thought, you have got to be a guest.
Thank you so much.
So
you
welcome.
made a dream coming true.
Oh,
I
my
promise
word.
you that.
We're talking In The Game. It's all about sports. It's all about putting that spotlight on people that love sports. And it was a conversation. So I'm going on. Please introduce yourself.
So,
yeah.
Oh, that, back then it was very difficult to introduce myself, but now gladly I would say, what is up, beautiful people? This is your homegirl, Arafa Alhammadi. Whatever you're watching, welcome.
You're good. I'm a little bit envious now.
Oh, no, you don't. So I can tell you a lot about myself, but then the only thing that I can describe myself is actually one word, a divergent.
Explain, because
have you ever watched the movie Divergent before?
No.
So Divergent actually have coming into a 4 parts of movies, or 3, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But then in order for a person as a Gemini like me to understand who I am, because Gemini is very multitasking and all over the place, so many talents, creativity is one of them. But then when I saw that movie, I was like, this is actually the word that suits me. A divergent is actually a person who can grow in different sections or realm.
Yeah.
From one person, and you get to find yourself in a different direction. But each direction that you go with, you're going to grow here, and you're going to grow there, and you're going to grow there, and you're going to grow here, and on. But it's actually one person. This is what divergent means.
I like it. I'm going to use this.
Please do.
Yeah, I'm going to use it because I think I do exactly the same. I'm not, I suppose it's not a very good saying, but I always used to say, jack of all trades, master of none. But I think you get to a stage where people person is a specialist, a specialism, right?
Yes,
You've got
and
to
it's
be.
not even a social butterfly anymore. It's actually people person, And I like to use different words and have a strong meaning. There is a word called logolepsy. I don't know if you heard of that, but logolepsy also means a person who likes words. So as a divergent and as a logolepsy, I also like the word miraki. Miraki means, as a divergent person, you do things with love. which means, Mirake, that I, as a person, if I start working with you, I'm going to put myself there. And if someone coming in, when they see you or they see something, but you're not present, they can sense your energy. They can sense your presence. This is Steve. This is Steve's podcast. This is what he is doing, So that's what Mirake means, to put yourself into the things that you do, and you do it with one heart. You're not doing it because you want people's attention. You're not doing it because you want to gain something on the back, but as much as that love that you're creating with it, all that energy in one place. That's why Mirake is a wonderful word to me. Divergent, Mirake, Lagalefsi. What else?
Mirake, I've got to say that I even love that even more, because Mirake is something that I've always felt that I called it my aura.
Exactly.
And it's like people say, what do you mean? It's you put your aura out sometimes, but the things that people value the most are the most simplest things. So when you did this the other day at that event, it's that you were putting a lot of that love out there, right?
Definitely.
In the sense that those ladies, they just kind of, it was a great event, and I can see where you've got a gift without a shadow of a doubt. And I'm so glad that you came on the podcast, and we're now going to go into, yeah. So I remember, because I was saying, what podcast will I get on? Will it be I Want to Grow? Because you could have fit both of them without a shadow of a doubt. There was 2 podcasts, so you could have gone on both.
Yes.
But it was where you were, it's what your job is now, and we're going to get into that. But it's where you've come from too. So let's go back in time, and let's talk about sports and how you eventually got it, how you began.
So as far as I remember in my childhood, some of my uncles actually basketball players, footballers, martial arts as well. And I remember I had one of my uncle who was trying so bad to teach me how to do martial arts, because I was obsessed with Chinese martial arts, specifically the wushu. And it was something fascinating to me, But then I always wanted to be in shape, because I always actually loved how people looked muscular. I'm not going to lie, and I'm not going to sound racist, but specifically Black people. So funny story. When I was a kid, we had a neighbor, and he was only 18 years old, and I think I was around 5 or 6 years old. And when I saw him working out, I decided to do the same. So those cans of the powder milk.
Yeah.
So our neighbor used to put the cement inside of them so he can make it dumbbells.
Yeah.
I did the same, and I was like, ever since I started lifting, and I was like, yeah, I'm muscular and all that. But it's just a genetic thing, to have muscles in my body. And I remember actually, and then when coming here to Doha, because we were not studying actually in Arabic school, we were studying in American schools, specifically in English, like by Cambridge. And then the thing is that when we came to Doha and we decided to settle, my dad decided to put us in schools, and we need to learn how to speak Arabic, because this also was an issue to us.
Okay.
And we didn't know how to speak proper Arabic. But then I remember I was really good in sports, and back then we had this talent scouts. So I became one of those kids actually in the school's gymnastics, and then basketball, and then also athletics. And then actually was like, how can I say it? Like the biggest part of me becoming an athlete, from school to middle school to high school to national teams. This is how all it started.
Okay, but what was it like then with the acceptance of you being a lady, but wanting to do this sporting? How did you get a lot of support from your family?
I mean, my family did not mind at all. Actually, they were proud because, like I said, I'm coming from a huge background family with athletic background. So they were really supportive, and they actually liked that their children actually doing something related to sport. Instead of just going to school, coming back, just watching TV, eating and doing nothing but homeworks, and then back to eating and watching TV. But then my family were very, very supportive when it comes to this. Actually, they were the only people I could say in my life that they encouraged me to continue this career. And I love that, because to me, it was a huge part of me that made me with who I am today. I never thought I would become a trainer. This is something I never put in my mind. But then when I saw myself watching my coaches, how they're coaching us from building a certain skill in order to do a certain fitness, and I could guarantee some of them, they didn't know much, but then the new generation, we knew so much. And then I was like, you know what, maybe it's the time to take my certificate to become a personal trainer. And I did. And I remember during that time also, I believe it was during 2009 or 8, something like that, or 10, probably, I was searching for a place where they can actually give this kind of certificates. So IFA, the International Fitness Alliance, they were actually the first company who did that. And they were actually the first at all in Qatar to give you those kind of certificate, and instead of going anywhere else, you know. And I was so proud that I found something and I just wanted to do it. But I didn't pursue it immediately. It took me a while until I get that certificate, because I was just building myself from a career to another. And then also my college year, it was one of the most difficult year of my life in order just to finish and, you know, get done with it, because it was something like, either way, my career as an athlete or my study. So which one I'm going to choose? This was also something hard. But then I can combine between them, but I cannot give 100% here and I cannot give 100% here. Because once you are in a certain field, specifically if you're in a sport, you will have to go to sport. You will have to train. You have to travel with your team, because this is a national team we're talking about. The same thing for your study. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a break from being an athlete. I want to finish my college degree, and that what happened. But then, you know, it's just a gap and another year of doing something, another gap and another year doing something. But it was just a growing process, so to speak.
Did you regret the choices that you made?
Never.
Well done.
Never.
Okay, I'm taking you back even. I'm going to take you back.
Take
so
me.
you said just gymnastics.
Yes.
When I was 9, 10 years old, I used to be, and this I'm so old, and it was the likes of Nelly Kim and Olga Korbut.
Yeah.
And the Russian gymnast, the guys that were just so fit, it was untrue.
Yeah.
So what was that like? What gymnastics back then? What were you doing?
I mean, we were doing so many flips that I remember how many falls that I fell. And, you know, I almost even forgot most of the movement, you know. And there is this kind of thing, there's something we call it horseback in Arabic, ظهر الحصان. So that thing, you need to learn how to flip, and then you need to stand up straight.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I remember...
No steps,
exactly.
too.
I remember how many times I failed, and there is the tall one that you have to walk, and then you need to flip from here to there. That was actually the one that scares me the most, instead of doing any kind of muscle up or whatever. But then it was difficult, but I don't remember all the details because I was very, very young and during that period. But I cannot remember the details of how our coaches were like. Because I usually remember how people were like, right? But then this is the only period that I don't remember I had a very harsh coach at all. But alhamdulillah, I did not get any injuries and I'm safe.
Yeah.
And then when I remember a part when my dad saw me, I was doing some sort of flip. He didn't like it. He was like, "You're a girl. You shouldn't be flipping like that." That's the only thing he said. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to do it in front of my dad anymore because this kind of practice actually scares him.
Yep.
You know, and I was like, okay, that's it. But then I remember when Aspire opened, it was one of the most amazing thing that happened in Qatar.
100%.
And I remember when I was still in at school, and I saw the torch. It was not even finished yet, and Villaggio was not there.
Yeah.
And I remember going on the school trips, and we're seeing this place is getting growing, you know, up. They're building and building and building and building, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna live until I witness this, and I did. And I witnessed, and I went inside the spire, and it was one of the most magnificent buildings I have ever seen in my life. You know,
it still is, right?
Yeah,
it still is the magnificent building.
It is.
It is, and it changes people's lives. So you did gymnastics. What else? Because I know that there's many more sports that you've done.
Yes, true. So after gymnastic, I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to try myself into something. This is why not knowing how diverse I was, and this is why I called myself a divergent also, is explaining why also my childhood of my choices. Because, everything you do as a kid, it will just go into implement in your life as an adult. So then I was like, I want to try basketball because I saw my uncles playing basketball, street basketball to be specific.
Yeah.
I love that. There was no rules, nothing. And I was playing street basketballs with my cousins, and we were enjoying and having fun. But then it turns out there are rules when you are in the court. You cannot do, let's say, you cannot steal the ball from someone who's doing that, and then you're going to get a foul, or you cannot do like so many dripping and you're running, you need to stop in a certain area and all this kind of drills and movement. And I was like stuck. But then I had to learn. I had to learn in a hard way. I remember we had an amazing American coach. His name was Eric. And his wife as well. They were actually coaching both the national teams, male and females.
Yep.
And it was one of the most amazing experience that I had as a basketball player. I'm not going to lie. Basketball was one of the most amazing sport that I
You've got to be fit.
Exactly. And more than anything is that I can say it's cultural thing to a Black person, and because we grow up in a neighborhood, you're watching the boys are playing and you just want to cheer up certain boys, the team. And then I think it just runs in my blood, That's why I loved basketball. And I remember when we used to play with other schools, because this was the most awesome thing, because we get to see the girls and how they're playing. And I was super confident that I'm a best player, that no one can actually take the ball from me and I'm going to score. But then I also found myself in the basketball court, I'm really good in defense.
Yeah.
More than actually attacking, or just stealing the ball. I'm really good in defense. And I love that.
Yeah. I used to, in football, I used to go in defense because I just wanted to make sure that.
I'm sorry to say that I'm never a big fan of football. Sorry.
I kind of, it's just, but I always found myself going into the defense because I wanted to make sure that I could support and defend when needed to be.
I think it's actually related to our personality and how we see things. Because even when it comes to sport, it's actually related to who you are. I don't know if actually people would notice this. Let's say a certain sport you chose, maybe you like to be free. You will choose running.
Yeah.
Or cycling, for example. You are, let's say you have a little bit of anger or you just want to punch someone. This is martial arts, and boxing is really good for people like that, But then you will actually understand the personalities of people through the sports that they're actually doing. And this has taught me a lot in my career as a personal trainer as well. And I love that when I get to understand my client in a certain way and what she likes, I know what I can give her and what will make her feel better about herself after finishing a certain session or finishing a class with a group of people and all of that. But sports is something really amazing. And I hope people would see that, not just only I want to change because I want to look good or something. No.
You like cycling?
Uh-huh.
You like cycling?
I love cycling.
Yeah.
Cycling is another story. I remember...
Every cyclist is going to say, "Yeah, look at him."
Really?
I just my mind needs. I can't just switch off.
Really?
Oh my word! My business partner loves cycling. He was going to become a professional mountain biker.
Yeah, but why did he stop?
Because he's a genius. This guy is special. I'm telling you, he really is special. So I'm glad that he changed. I'm glad he didn't go into it.
Felix, is it?
Felix, yes. Yeah, Felix. He's just, so he was into the cycling, and he's been on some of those rides that you all go to our core and those type of things.
Yeah, those mountain.
I kind of, but cycling, I know that you're into that. And
I love cycling because it's also another way of freedom.
Oh, now we're seeing a trait, yeah.
So to me, my freedom, this is something I was writing 2 days ago. What does a freedom means? To me, is moving my legs. To run, to cycle. First of all, you're thinking about a lot of stuff when you're cycling or even running. But in that moment, when you reach a certain distance, the only thing you're going to care about is, when am I going to finish? I want to finish now. Because whatever the thought that I had in the beginning, I almost forgot half of it. But then now I want to finish this distance and just get done with it. And then when I go home, I think of nothing but actually, I accomplished something today. I finished cycling. Now, cycling, after I left the national team for the basketball.
You left the national team. You were...
I had to leave someone. If they don't leave me, I leave them.
Do you know Amal? Do you know Amal, the lady?
Yeah.
So she was one of the first people on our podcast going back nearly 3 years ago.
Really?
Now she's a referee, right?
Yeah, she
And she's
is.
a big
Amal and
referee.
Amal as well. Yeah, we were all in the same team. So the thing is that I got a call from my friend, and she was like, Arafa, they're looking for girls who are going to do cycling. And not a lot of actually Qatari women or girls decided to be in that team because it's kind of a little bit of part of our tradition. This is not something a girl would do, right? And it's not something like our families or some people would want us to see us actually riding a bike in the middle of the street doing 50 kilometers or something, you name it. But then at the beginning, I remember it was very hectic experience because everyone was trying to get their things together because nobody understood what is it all about. But then when they started, we had an amazing coach. Her name is Pia. She's actually from Finland, and she was actually a famous cyclist. And I didn't even know that. But then I loved the way that she took us from 0 to 100. Because whatever she's doing, she didn't want us just to be strong and just go ahead and run or cycle or do whatever. No, she needed to teach us the basic. As a normal kid, cycling, this is what I know cycling. There is a gear, there is something you need to hold as a brake, and that's it, right? But when you take this as a professional career, you'll be surprised on the amount of the information you would know about a bike. I didn't even know there was a road bike in that time. Imagine. I didn't even know what's the difference between this bike, the mountain, or even a road. And then when I was in this national team, I was like, wow, I'm fascinated. But now since I'm an expert, humbly.
Was it always a challenge for you? Was that what pushed you along? Because you could have been in basketball.
Yes.
And then cycling. Was it because you always wanted to be better and to get better?
People who always wants to be better, you will never find them stuck in one place. You will find them jumping from a place to another until they find what they truly feel like this is me, or this is where I truly belong to. Because it's not an easy task, or it's not even an easy journey from jumping to one another. Because if you are living in a community, seeing you as a Steve, you love podcast, right?
Yeah.
But then you have something else other than podcast that you do. And then people find out you have something third that you do. And then another 4, 5, 6, 7 to 10, they'll be confused. And then they start it's indirect attack. What are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Yep.
Why didn't you just focus on something, just one thing and then go and do this?
Yep.
But they don't see the true struggle behind all this, what you're doing. Now, a lot of people they don't have this kind of ability actually to, how can I say, they don't have this ability to jump from thing to another, because for them, this is something they are actually internally, they're scared to get out of that comfort zone.
Yep.
I'm not going to lie, I was scared to actually move to another team, but at the same time, I really wanted to experience those kind of feelings, So I did. Cycling was actually something I really enjoyed, I really loved, and I gained that experience that I want. But then now, let me move to something else.
Okay, so who's been the inspiration that's kept you going, that's kind of pushed you in kind of coach? I don't want to go coaching because that's going to be my next question. But who was that inspiration that you always looked up to, that was always there to give you the support, to have the belief that you could do those things?
Actually, no one but myself.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
I actually thought I had an idol. But then every time I look, I kind of feel disappointed that this person doesn't implement the kind of image of an idol that I have in my mind. An idol to me, like you just explained, is someone who actually going to inspire you so you can move forward and all those kind of things. But then by the end of the day, I'm the one who was inspiring myself because this is what I truly wanted to do. Not because of someone else I saw doing it. This is what I wanted to do. No, it was my choice and my own energy of wanting to discover those things, and I wanted to put myself into this kind of struggle. And I don't fear struggle, by the way. I don't.
I've got a real good picture now. I'm building up already, and we said at the beginning we're gonna be friends after this.
Yes, sure.
And I get this really great feeling for you, and I'm getting more and more excited. But there's some questions that I want to keep on asking.
Please.
The one is how important is the coach in this sports for you? Because I hear you talk about with fondness. You talk about your coaches with fondness.
Yes.
Was that the decision why you've gone into something that you're doing right now?
I think the coach image itself me as a person, let's say not even just a coach, as a daily life of a person that you work with, let's say your work colleague, how is that colleague is treating you? Is going to affect you, because you are living in the same environment, working in the same environment, right? You're seeing each other every single day. So how is that person treating you is actually going to implement you in your training, in your work, whatever the zone that you're in. To me, a coach figure was very important because I needed someone who going to push me when I'm lazy.
Yeah.
To push me when I don't be too harsh on me, but at the same time, push me enough to realize what I'm doing in order to get up and move forward. This is how important to me a good coach would be. I mean, until now, even me as an adult, and I'm as a coach myself, I'm looking for a coach.
What were you looking? And the thing with it is, you talked about the giving you the discipline, giving you the push.
Yes.
What type of person were you? Did you react at somebody telling you off, or did they have to put their arm around you and come on, you can do this?
So this is something also funny that I discovered about myself, actually. Put an arm around me. I don't like when I hear people like, oh, let's go, let's do it, you know. It's actually irritating me because I don't like to hear this kind of voices when someone is like, yalla, let's go. To me, I'm the one who's going to do this. Like, come on, Steve. Let's go, Steve. You know, like, you got this.
Yeah.
But I don't like it when other people do it to me, believe it or not. To me, it's the opposite. To me, you have to speak to me softly and gently. This is where my heart is like, I'm pumped. I'm about to conquer the world. I don't know why, but it's just coming the opposite. Absolutely. Because I remember I was doing a race called Israr. And it has been happening since 2000 and...
I wish I could get my T-shirt out now with the Ezra race.
Yeah, so...
I've got my T-shirt. I've got it in one of these bags around here. I've got my
really, you do.
Yeah.
So Isra was amazing. It's wonderful.
I couldn't fit into the shirt beforehand.
No.
Right? But I took the shirt out the other day and I had a shirt and T-shirt on as well. And it was too big for me.
Yeah.
So it was a wonderful experience. It's around here somewhere because we promoted them on our podcast too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How come?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. There's always a time when you meet people.
It was really, really good. And what they did, they've achieved so many, but COVID.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they're going to come back soon.
I
It's
really
going to be
hope
bigger and better.
I really hope that too. So in Israr, I remember when you have to carry those sandbag, then you need to go climb the hill, right? So in that hill running, the guy was like, let's go. I don't mean to be rude, but I really don't like it when people are just encouraging this way. I prefer like gently, but don't raise that tone more than what it is. Just keep it gentle. Like even if the like a normal conversation, yalla, you got this. I would rather listen to this one instead of actually, yalla, let's go.
Yeah, it's because I'm always intrigued, and I keep on saying to people, you've got to be as a manager when you have that responsibility, you've got to find out what that individual likes. Does it a telling off, or is it the arm around and saying, hey, listen, I just didn't expect that of you. I expected a little bit more.
Yes.
And sometimes that's worse than somebody shouting at you 24/7, right?
Yes,
it's just that little bit to look up and say, oh, you know what? You're right. I could have done better. I should have done better. But going on to this, as all of your love of sports, and I'm going to stay in the sports area right now. So you're a personal fitness instructor, trainer, and I'm going to stay with the sports because we're going to extend and go a little bit further. How much of a buzz do you get from that now when you're actually doing things that you love but helping others find themselves? So
it's like, I'm not going to lie, in a period of my life, it was a roller coaster because I was like, what am I doing? I'm not gonna lie, being in the divergence, sometimes you do feel lost because you always want to find yourself. But then the fact that you're giving people, but you're not giving yourself, is something else. Now, being a fitness instructor or even just a personal trainer, I found out I'm more than that. I'm actually a consultant.
Yep.
I'm a dietitian. I'm actually the best friend. I'm that friend when in need, and indeed. I am that person who just listen to you and hear you complain about your life and about how this person was bad with you and everything. And I was like, this is very overwhelming, because at first I didn't understand that at all when I put myself into this, you know? And I thought, I was like, oh, maybe this is a trap. Nobody told me, like, being a personal trainer, this is what's gonna happen. All I learned is actually about muscles movement. This is what's gonna happen when you move this muscle. This is what's gonna happen to your heart and all this. But nobody told me about this kind of emotional statement of a client, because all I know, a client is coming negative. They want to release that energy in that sport, but nobody told me between the lines. And this was like overwhelming. And I was like, what's happening? Because I cannot tolerate this. I remember I took a break for almost 3 months from just not wanting to do any PT, because I felt like the energy was too high for me. And I was like, you know what? It's time to tap on myself, because I really needed that, you know? Because when you are, how can I say, a people person, you go out there, you listen, you do whatever it is with other people, but then that's too much of an energy, and then you need to tap on yourself, like observe it. Take that, whatever left from the good ones, leave the bad ones, but then come out recharged in a better way to know how to handle with this. Because being a personal trainer, not a lot of people actually understand it. To them, this is just a way of making money, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's more than money. It's actually more than money.
There's a lot of people out there, to them, it is the money. But I know that the short experience I've had of you, you know that you put your life and soul in. And that's the one thing I was going to say to you. Was it a big escape for you, having to deal with yourself in some dark areas, the ups and downs, when you could throw yourself into trying to solve problems for your clients?
Actually, it was like, this is a really good question, because I remember when I was in a dark place, but then I forced myself to go to my clients instead of actually taking care of myself. Because to me, I have an obligation. I needed to do it, right? But then at the same time, that dark moment of my life, or that period, to be specific, not even entirely, it was so dark that listening to other people's problem, I was absorbing all that negative energy and put it in myself instead of actually absorbing the good one. So they ended up becoming my therapist. In that period of life, like, because I was giving too much.
Yep.
And then when they saw me, I'm down, I'm no longer that kind of like the cheerful person, like, Arafa, what's going on? You're very quiet. I was like, trust me, you don't want to know. Oh, no, please tell me. And I was like, are you ready? Because I'm about to open a whole entire new book to you. And then we just sit and we start talking, and we ended up becoming friends.
Yeah.
And then we go out for a dinner. The next day we're going out for somewhere else. We just want to enjoy I think this is a very blissful experience to me, because after all, like I said, is being a personal trainer is not just about making money, because whatever the valuable, let's say, whether it's information or kind of friendship that you will find with that person is going to last forever. I promise you that. And not a lot of people actually see that.
I saw you and listening to you now, I'm thinking to myself, I saw this very confident person at the event, and you were so confident.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not. I wasn't. No, this is a story. In that event, I remember when I came up to the stage and I start counting to get everyone's attention.
Yeah, of course.
Because I know, like, people are just paying attention and everyone just had lunch, right, in that time. And then I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, until 10. And then in that moment when all the eyes were on me, I was about to literally faint.
Really?
Because I was having this blood and all this rushing to me.
I say that because I could hear the tremor in your... nobody else would have noticed it, but because I can feel it, you know. So I could feel it when you were doing that, and they all stopped talking by the 10. Yeah. But I could hear that little tremor.
It was like, can you hear my voice shaking?
But you grew in confidence as you went along. It's not easy to get up there and talk and be what they're all expecting you to be as an inspiration or say something that's going to kind of resonate with them.
True.
So, but you did, I said that to you, you did an amazing job. It was a really, and I love listening to you and the radiance that you were putting out with that I call it aura. okay, is the aura that you were giving to your group of friends that was around you was tremendous, because they were all feeding off you, and they were getting more confident as that event went along. So it was really special. And what I do like about you is that I was trying to limit you to say that you were a personal trainer, but you're not just a personal trainer.
No.
You're a life coach. You're helping these individuals overcome those things that they're going through. As you said, sometimes it's energy draining.
True.
But you're always prepared to put yourself last.
True.
And that's what I thought I saw of you. And that's why I thought to myself, you've just got to come on the podcast. You've got to come on the podcast.
Yes.
Really. And with you now, so you're doing all these things and you're helping so many people. And you've got, as I've been trying to do, you've got a brilliant name. Everybody loves you, right?
you.
Everybody loves you.
Thank you.
What's the next steps for you? And this Zumra. Oh, my word.
Oh, Zumra,
Oh my word! You're involved with that too.
I know.
But you're doing so many, you're making a difference, a huge difference.
Alhamdulillah.
What's next for you? What are the things that you're involved in, and what's going to be the next steps?
So the next step is going to be probably just doing a little bit of collaboration now. You know, the thing I have been holding myself back is that after years of experience giving, it's good. I took something for myself. The thing I have been wanting to do for a very long time is actually doing workshops. I have been avoiding doing that for a very long time. But then now I'm at my job place where I work at this moment, I was able to give this kind of workshops now. And this gave me, how can I say, a green light that I need to go now individually outside and instead in a realm of just under another company. Because to me, I find myself, it's easier for me if I'm collaborating with someone to do that. But I never find it easy for me to do it by myself, organizing it by myself and doing all the job by myself.
You can't.
No, it's not like this. But, you know, sometimes what I understood about myself, I have internal shyness.
We've all got it.
But this Chinese ego, no, can I do it? And I'm like, no, stop. You know, it's just my imagination. But then if I gave myself a little bit of a push, I know I can do it, actually. It's not that hard.
But it's like those, you're...
Yes.
Okay?
It is overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. But that's what you keep on doing to yourself.
Yes.
and I do it in so many different ways. I told you before the podcast, I said, I get so nervous, it's untrue.
I know, right?
And even, I get so nervous. And people say that I look up and I say, I'm shy. And people look up and they say, how are you shy? It's like you're always doing workshops, or you're always doing stuff. You're always on LinkedIn. You're always, what? That's my job.
They don't know what is inside of you.
That's my job. That's the job I've got to do. If I don't put myself out there, then...
Who else going to do it?
And how am I going to help people if I don't try to get that voice
High five me
loud?
for that. Not a lot of people actually get to see that.
No, and it's like, it's always... And one question, I'm jumping now. I do jump. You know I jump. So what's the next steps for you? What I cut you in, but what's the next steps for you?
So my next step is actually start doing workshops as an individual, not under anyone's name, but my name, you know?
Yeah.
And instead in collaboration with someone oh no, this is Arafa Alhammadi workshop.
Scary? Scary? Is it scary?
I'm actually excited and nervous at the same time.
Yeah.
But then I'm planning, and when I plan something, I want to do it right. I want to give you 100%. I don't want to give you 15. I don't want to give you 50. I want to give you 100 to 1,000. You know, it's not, if people would call it, I have to be perfectionist. It's kind of, if it is a first time going individually, you know, because once you go solo, you will have a lot of obstacles on your way, but at the same time, you will learn about yourself, but you will also learn about the way you want to give people the things that you want to do to them. And my aim since I was 12 years old, when I decided to write a book for the first time in my life, I was like, I want to help people. I don't want them to go through the things that I've been through, because
I'm going to give you one of these now.
You know, I don't want anyone to go through anything. But then that's the thing. Being 12 years old, and you have to grow way beyond kind of age. As a 12 years old, what a 12 years old child would do in that time? playing video games, watching TV,
Well done. Yep.
doing this. But no, to me, I had a very devastating experience during that age, and it was a huge breakdown to me. I decided to be a writer, and I want to help people. Oh God, every night, oh God, please show me the way in order to help people. And it was through writing. I start writing. And I remember the first person who I gave my writing to, it was in a full Arabic language. It was my uncle. And he was like, girl, where did you hit this talent from? I was like, it's recently been developed because of pain. It's out of pain.
Yeah.
Whatever happens to you in your pain period, it makes you magnificently creative.
Oh, I love what you're saying. And another thing that I like what you're saying is that I don't ask God for anything. I don't try to. I just ask him to show me the way.
Exactly. Show me the way.
Just show me the way. Tell me what you, not even tell me what you want. Let me do your work.
Let
me do your work.
Sure, show me the way. And he will even actually, if God truly loves someone, this is what we believe in, is that he will show you the way. He will actually bring people on your way who's going to help you and be in this journey with you. And so many tools that you would never expect that you're going to have it at all. You didn't even think that, let's say you want to do a podcast. I don't have those microphones. But then suddenly, like, you want to help someone, and then suddenly someone else like, hi, Steve, how are you? I have those microphones. I'm not in need for it. And suddenly, it was a God will. In that moment, you'll be surprised.
Of course. And sometimes when you say, show me a sign, just give me a sign that I'm going in the right direction.
There is a song called Lord, Give Me a Sign. I'm out of my mind.
and the thing with it is, and sometimes I'm looking, I'm thinking, and then all of a sudden somebody's going, hello, here's the sign.
I know.
Everyone, there's the sign.
Yes.
And that's the moments that I look at it and go, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Because he can put you in any different way. True. It's up to you. True. And it's for you to embrace it. Oh my word, it's for you to embrace it. So when we said today, we're gonna have a kind of we're on the road to friendship.
Yes.
Today I realized this 1 hour, it's like we've got so much in common because that's the way that I lead my life. I may be a Libran.
Actually, believe it or not, Gemini and Libra are actually best friends in the zodiac schedule.
I'll tell you, I kind of, with what you're saying, it's kind of, I know that I'm going in the right direction.
You're
the times that your confidence goes, the imposter syndrome kicks in, and you think to yourself, is this all worth it? It's people listening. I did a podcast, it was just a teaser today that I put out about a guy in Lebanon, and he keeps on helping people. Wow. It's starting up in business. And we put it was just the teaser. I've had 3 people from Lebanon come back and say, that's just absolutely fantastic. And his brother came back and said, whoa, that was brilliant you did for my brother. Yeah. So all of these things that you do, you've just got to keep on going because you've got to have that blind belief. And you've got to have that blind belief.
True.
And you've got to just help and support others.
Exactly.
I love what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
I love what you're doing. And what a perfect way. I could speak to you for hours, and we'll probably do after right?
We should actually do camping, and then we can talk about
it's like I like your soul. I like what you stand for, and it's not just because of talking. I love watching people. I'm not gonna admire anybody from a talking perspective. Let me see your actions, but when nobody's looking or when you're not doing it for show.
Yes.
And you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful personality that I know that you want to help everybody out there.
Thank you so much. This means a lot to me.
You are fantastic. And I'm so glad that you took time out of your day to come and share it with me and our listeners. Yeah.
It's worth it.
Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Everybody, I hope you enjoyed that show as much as I did, because that was another special show. And it shows you that we can all be that individual that can go out and help others.
Sure.
And all you've got to do is just I keep on saying this, just put one foot in front of the other. We're not always feeling it, but we've got to believe in it. And when we believe in it, we can make those decisions and we can help others.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show as much as I did today. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening. Until next week.